Welcome to this video. My name is Mr. Ruben. I'm teaching you how to solve problems. Question number 16, 17 and 18 right here. So the first question comes from simple linear equations. Second question comes from parts of a circle. And the third one comes from a topic called quadratic equations. So let's begin by solving the first one. And this is where I want us to read carefully. Some problems which involve a lot of words, they require some careful attention. Okay, so let us read this one. A father is now 4 times as old as his son. 5 years ago, he was exactly 1 year and a half times as old as his son will be in 10 years from now. Determine the sum of their present ages. I think even when I'm teaching, I'm recommending that when you're reading a question, read it at least 2 times. Okay, so we read it one more time, and this time we are going to be underlining some important pieces of information. So a father is now, so the word now here is going to be very important. Now 4 times as old as his son, so we have got 4 times 5 years ago, so we are talking about past here, ago, past. He was exactly 1 year and a half times, he was exactly 1 year and a half times as old as his son will be. Will is a verb that represents future in 10 years from now. So determine the sum of their present ages. So allow me to go straight to solving that. And how we solve that, we will generate a small table here. So the table is right here. It's always important to draw this table. It's always important, and you'll see why I'm saying it is important. So we are going to have 4 columns and 4 rows. So the number of rows and columns you make depend on the question. Okay, we are done. It will depend on the question. So the first cell, I will write time. Second one here, I'll write further. Third cell, last one, I put sum. Okay, and you see why I'm saying that. So from time downward, I'll say this is future, because we saw some information telling us more about the future. We saw another one telling us more about now, that is the present, and we take one more for the past. We were told 5 years ago. Now let us go back to the question and try to feed in the information here. Okay, the question says our father is now 4 times now as old as his son. So we go to present and we ask ourselves, if the age of the son is x years, what will be the age of the father? Definitely 4 times that would be 4x, right? Hope that one is clear. Then 5 years ago, he was exactly 5 years ago, he was exactly 1 year and a half times as old as his son will be in 10 years. So we are going to take this age of the son and we subtract 5 years to go to the past. Okay, so we take x minus 5 and we do the same thing to the father, because we are subtracting 5 years from each person to know how old they were 5 years ago. Okay, so it means the father was 4x minus 5 and the son was x minus 5 years. We have one part that is not filled, that is one about the future, and that we are told that he was exactly 1 year and a half times as old as his son will be in 10 years. So we are adjusting our present time to future by adding 10 to both. Okay, so we have x plus 10 and we have 4x plus 10. We are adjusting this time from here. Okay, so 4x becomes 4x plus 10 to move to future, and x becomes x plus 10 the same way to go to future. Okay, so you notice that we have one column unfilled, that is 1 for sum, and don't worry about that because we are getting there in a minute. So there is one important fact here which I want us to underscore. This fact that he was exactly, the father was, we are referring to the father, who was exactly 1 year and a half times as old as his son will be in 10 years. So we are comparing the age of the father, which is this one in the past, and the son's age in future, right? And so we are told that the father's age in the past, that is 5 years ago, is equals to 1.5 times, that is 3/2 of the future age of the son, that is x plus 10, right? And that is what is going to help us to solve that value of x, right? So we say 4x minus 5 is 3/2 x plus 10, right? That becomes a very simple linear equation. So if you multiply both sides by 2, you get 2 into 4x minus 5 equals to 3x plus 10. So 8x minus 10 is equals to 3x plus 30, right? Subtracting 3x from both sides and adding 10 to both sides, you're going to get 5x equals to 40 and x is 8. Right, that seems like we are almost there. So if you go back to the table, x represents the son's present age, so it means the age of the son here is 8. All right, allow me to jolt and put 8 there. So what is the father's age in the present? It is 4 times 8, you get 32. So the sum of the ages will be 32 plus 8, which gives us 40. Alright, what does the question say? The question says, determine the sum of their present ages, which is 32 plus 8, and we get 40 years. We are done. So let's go to the next question, question number 17, which says, an arc length of 11 centimeters subtends an angle of 140 degrees at the circle. Find the area of the enclosed sector. You all know what a sector is. It's a part of a circle. So we're solving number 17 here. And we'll draw a circle here. It's not a must you draw, but I always prefer to draw because I will always get a geometric intuition of what I'm handling. So this is what we are calling a sector, which subtends, this is the center of the circle, subtends an angle of 140 degrees, and we don't know the radius, but we know the arc length. This is the length, is 11 centimeters, right? So what is the area of the enclosed sector? All right, so we're going to use two formula here. The first one is length of an arc is given by 360 theta over 360 2 pi r, where theta is this angle subtending at the center of the circle. And we're also going to use another formula. Area is theta over 360 pi r squared. So this is a fraction of the circumference, and this is a fraction of the area. Alright, so we start from known to unknown. We know that length of an arc is 11, so 11 is equals to theta, which is 140. Why are we doing this? We want to get the radius, times 2 times radius. Okay, we have to put pi first, times into 2 over 7 times radius, and that is what we are having. So solving this, allow me to use a calculator to do it quickly. I need to have 140 times 2 times 22 divided by 360 divide by 7. I'm going to get 2.44 times r, and this we equated to 11. So to divide by 2.44 both sides, so radius is going to be 11 divided by what we have there, and we get radius of 4.5 centimeters, right? So you already know the radius, so we can go and determine the area of the sector using this formula. Okay, so area is going to be theta 140 over 360 times 22 over 7 times radius squared, the one that we have previously observed. So it is immediately clear that if we put this information on our calculator, we have 140 divided by 360 times 22 over 7 times 4.5 square, we will get the area as 24.75 centimeter square. So you notice that the radius is in centimeters and the area is in centimeter square, right? Fine. So to make a recap here, you have to draw the diagram to see what part of a circle you're dealing with, and this one is this sector, which has got center here of the circle, and these are the radii. And this from here to here, this is the length of an arc, which we are told is 11 centimeters. Then you use this formula and this formula. The first one is to help you to get the radius, and the second one is to give you the area, which was the ultimate result that you were supposed to determine. Then going to the next question, we are supposed to determine or factorize an expression involving x squared plus 6x plus 9 over x squared minus 9. This one is pretty simple because you only need to factor the numerator separately and the denominator separately. And maybe to create some space here, I'm going to use a different paper altogether. I hope this one is going to be visible. You take numerator as x squared plus 6x plus 9, okay, and then you factor this. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is the product? The product is this one, which is positive 9, and sum is coefficient of x, or the coefficient of the linear term, which is 6, positive 6. So you ask yourself, which are these two numbers which when you sum them you get 6, and when you multiply them you get 9? It is very clear that those numbers are 3 and 3. So using those two numbers, you can comfortably write this expression this way, and you factor, you're going to have, this is 3x plus 3, and the factors now become x plus 3, x plus 3. So that's the numerator. When it comes to denominator, you have x squared minus 9, and this is another concept of difference of squares. So this one factors into x minus 3 quantity, and then x plus 3. Okay, so if you take numerator over denominator, you're going to have x plus 3, x plus 3. The denominator is x minus 3, x plus 3. Seems like we have factors which can cancel both in the numerator and the denominator. Then we are left with this factor x plus 3 and x minus 3, which you can't simplify further. Okay, and that is the answer to our question. So I think it is very important you understand the question first, and then you must apply the basics that you are taught on how to factor the quadratic expression, and there you go. So thank you so much.